Welcome to the recap of week 2 of ECS, starting off with Europe, where we had a big performance from Astralis. They looked really strong and they won all of their matches.
Yeah, fortunately for some of the Swedes, they had some jet lag issues. A lot of them flew back in from China. I don't know how much you buy into that as an excuse, but they definitely were struggling. I mean, we saw NIP having a really good time of it, but Godsend, absolutely not. We did see somewhat of a recovery moving later into later matches with Godsend, but generally speaking, it's not been the best start for them.
Yeah, they did 2-0 Envy at the very least, so they've got some points on the board. In Pyjamas were in action as well, and they managed to win their matches versus Godsend. So yeah, looking better for NIP. Dennis has been looking good for them on the pistol rounds especially. We'll see if it continues. Still early days here in Europe. Fnatic got some games in as well, but again, against Astralis, everybody seemed to struggle. So moving on to North America, NRG's reign of terror is continuing. They're still yet to drop a match, if I'm not mistaken. Looking really pretty nice on top of the leaderboard, and they're looking like a really strong team as well. Yeah,
NRG is. It's really cool. It's really cool to see such strong results. Considering that in the past, some of these newer brands, for us, we would always just assume that they're not going to do well. They're not going to do well. Then there's nothing really much to pay attention to. We've had lots of storylines like that, but every single season, we do get these improved results, and some of these teams like United, NRG, teams that you may not expect to do so well are having actually brilliant performances. So it's really actually very engaging to watch. I'm just so interested to see what are they doing, how are they achieving this, especially with these people that some would say are known enemies.
Complexity are back in the league, but they have been struggling to win some matches. Again, it's still early days, 18 matches for each team to try and win. So we'll see if they can get up the leaderboard a bit later on. Renegades have been in action as well, taking some games off of United, but obviously losing to NRG like everybody is doing at the moment. The Optic lineup have been in game as well. Previously, we've seen I'm a Pet talking about some disdain in the way they've been playing Counter-Strike. That was before these matches, though. But they managed to win a match versus Liquid, which was a big surprise. So that must have been a shock for Liquid.
Yeah, they were. I think some people forgot that Stanislaw is a very good in-game leader. We had that sort of blip in his career in a sense that he's on Liquid, couldn't quite exactly do what he did with Optic previously, but now back on the lineup, we're actually really seeing him, I think, construct a good structure with these teams, with these players that he has to work with, and maybe he'll do it again. Maybe he'll just get a bunch of players no one expects to do super well, and he'll start taking some titles. It's early days, but it's looking exciting so far.
Time will tell. There's lots more Counter-Strike to come in the coming few days, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and tuned in to those broadcasts. Make sure your accounts are linked for drops as well. We'll see you back here soon.
Tonight on ECS, we see the Swedes of NIP take on the French side of Team Envyus. Envyus have struggled so far this season, losing out to both Astralis and Fnatic last night, adding to their losses in their debut match against Godsend to put them dead last at 0-6. New member Haji will need to avoid struggling under pressure, and the entire team will need to play more consistently if they hope to turn the board around and bring in some wins this season. NIP, on the other hand, have looked strong, currently sat with 2 wins and 1 loss. New addition Dennis certainly seems to have pulled NIP back into shape. With a dominant 16-1 and 16-8 win over Godsend, NIP currently sit in 3rd place on the leaderboard. Will Envy manage to turn the tables and grasp their first win? Or will NIP stand their ground and go from strength to strength? Find out right here at youtube.com/FACEIT.
Good evening, fellow Europeans, and welcome to the Counter-Strike show. Welcome to ECS. Welcome to our studio in Santa Monica. Once again, I'm joined by Dan. I am joined by Launders, and it is the Launders Apparel crew. Dan and I left the apartment at separate times, and we've just decided separately, but hive mind, to all wear boxer t-shirts today. You must be a happy man, Launders.
I feel pretty good, yeah. Now I understand why everyone wears Supreme.
Where can you buy these? Where can you buy these, eh?
Store.boxer.gg, James.
Store.boxer.gg, spelled BOXR, I presume.
Right, yeah.
I've got the keycap, which matches this little red thing here. But I don't have the keyboard for it yet. It's going to arrive next week when I'm going to be in London.
Yep.
And then I'm going to have to just wait for ages. Well, we've got some Counter-Strike coming up for you today. 2 European matches. We've seen a lot of Envy so far. It hasn't been that good, let's be honest. And I mean, Scream has voiced he's upset. He wants Counter-Strike to be fun again. He's not having a fun time losing every match, and who would? I certainly wouldn't. So they're going to be playing Ninjas in Pajamas, and the I don't know why I did that. And the maps are going to be Cash and Inferno. Nice open maps, should be explosive games. What are your expectations, Dan?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential with this Envyus lineup. Honestly, I think they've just recently put this lineup together. I think previously they'd already been worn down by having XMS and Sixer there for so long, just bashing their head against the wall. I don't think like a roster change for ages was really available for them as an option. So I think they just felt like they were sort of in a prison. I feel like this is sort of a breath of fresh air into the team. So I think that despite Scream being a little bit emo yesterday, I think that they'd have a very good chance here against NIP, who to me are very inconsistent.
But that's their identity, isn't it? They are an emotional team.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be their problem. So that doesn't even seem out of the ordinary. Those kind of tweets, we've seen plenty of them in the past as well. Where do you stand on NIP at the moment?
On NIP, I think they're looking better right now than Envy are. Envy are, I think, 0-8 right now in the league, or 0-6, I should say.
Yeah.
So they're not doing well. In the head-to-head, at least they've taken 2 out of the last 5 maps, I think, against NIP, which is not so bad considering NIP, I think, have won their last 6 games in a row, so they're probably feeling a lot more confident. And right now their motivations are a little bit different, but probably the same level, because Envy, you have to seriously think about avoiding relegation, which is a sad truth for them. And NIP, on the other hand, have they played any of the games yet? We've seen 2, I think. We saw a train match, and
the field's very open though, regardless. Yeah. I think it's just as strong. Like everybody, like I think FaZe are 3-3 or something like that. You know, FaZe were.
Can we take a look at the leaderboard?
Yes, let's do it.
And then we can find out exactly where these teams are. Again, it's earlier days for some teams than it is for other teams. We've seen a flurry of games from certain teams, and here are how things are looking at the moment. Astralis up there 10-0. Meanwhile, you see Envyus 0-6. Ninjas in Pajamas 2-1 at present. I think there was one match which the internet in Europe blew up, so it had to be postponed. So they've got a odd amount of matches played. However, yeah, they can easily take second place today, or there's a good chance. I wouldn't say easily. I think Cash is a map where Envy could have a performance and grab an upset.
It's funny though, because Cash was an interesting map in NIP's history, because it only became very good when initially had Threat adding loads of structure and tactics and strategy to it, because you can get very in depth with Cash, and it's all about having very good, having a very strong default, being very strong at building out of that default and that mid control, and NIP are really good at that. But then now we have a very different NIP. Dennis, I think he's the leader. I presume so. And anyone?
Don't know.
No? Okay.
It's a big guess.
From what I understand,
it seems like he is, though.
Yeah, from what I understand, he should be the IG. And honestly, I don't see who else could do it on the team. You don't want Forest leading. That doesn't make sense. So I feel like this map also is going to work very well with their new identity. You know, having Dennis in there, they're very much, I think, in the honeymoon period still. And I think Dennis does have this effect on teams where they just become even more explosive. So I feel like it could be whatever happens, it's going to be very explosive and very fun, especially with the meta on the CT side. I think that's very beneficial for the way that NIP want to play, just very aggressive, pushing all over the place. So it should be a fun game regardless.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Cash, I've been nerding out on Cash again. But before we get into nerding out, before these matches begin, if you haven't already, then link your FACEIT account to your YouTube account, because then you can be eligible for drops. We are giving away FACEIT points for the entire season. We've given away over 1 million already in the 2 weeks of ECS that have been live so far. So you go to your FACEIT account settings, go to game integrations, sorry, not game integrations, and you can integrate your YouTube account with your FACEIT account from there. Then you watch on gaming.youtube.com/FACEIT specifically. as opposed to the main YouTube website. It's the gaming website where you find access to these drops. So make sure you do that and get involved in these drops. I just played a game on the FACEIT hubs.
How'd it go?
I managed to squeeze in a game this morning. It was cool. We had a player who, I think he got a 40 bomb. So he was just running around shooting people, and I was just, doing this and doing that.
I was watching a little bit of FPL yesterday, and Fur got 43 kills versus Tarek's team on Cash.
That was ridiculous. But did you see the lineups? It was basically all of the 4 SK players and Neckers on one team. I don't know how the captains allowed that.
That was Marky's fault. He picked the whole team. He let them get cold, and then Fur as the first and second pick. So I think he had first pick, and he didn't pick cold or Fur.
Okay.
Maybe he thought it would be fun to just let them stack and play against them.
Well, the weirdest part was they came close. They basically should have won if you watched the match.
Really?
It was 16-14. They came close.
That must have been pretty cool then.
That sounds a lot,
and a third 40 bomb. That sounds really awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
NIP will be starting on the CT side of Cash. It's not often you see a very fast boost here onto the red box, but it does make it easier for you to see, especially when a smoke is down. If a CT is trying to be sneaky. If it's a deep smoke into T warehouse, then you can see on either side. Dennis, the new man on the NIP roster. It seems there'll be a slow start from Envy. Oh, hello, Haji. Speaking of new men, not easy to get the headshot from that position with the Glock and get a kill with it. So he's delivering something early. Remainder of NIP with Kevlar. Happy sneaking out of Squeaky now. There is a player by Fork, though, which is Draken. But Happy's slowly clearing the site. That gun falling on the floor will be heard, but Draken, what can he really do with this information? Well, one tap will help. Now we see a slow rotation from Dennis towards the car position.
Oh dear. Sunroom will likely be checked, but pretty nice advantage for Rez. It's the first kill. Does get traded out though, very nice. Scream has the spacing there to avenge his comrades. And now they can move into the B-bomb side. Although these CTs are certainly in an okay spot, able to get onto the site, but the headshots will fall in the favor of the Envyus side. And now Draken is alone. And I don't know if there's a kit somewhere, but he can absolutely pull this one off. It is a piss around after all.
Yeah, there's no kit around here. I think Get Right died first on A, so if there was a kit, it's on the other side of the map. So it's going to be a very hard task. They're just waiting for him to make the point of no return. If he quickly goes into headshot, that would be a saving grace, but he jumps up instead. Maybe trying to avoid getting pre-fired, but the numbers are too great. And the first round will go the way of Envy.
Here's another round where we see a default where everybody spreads out, and Glocks take fights, and they fortunately found the kill. I think Haji got the first one on A. And then after that, Happy lurking out, it seemed like maybe they overextended a bit at that point where he drops his gun and then gets one tap from Fork and they didn't clear everything out. But they made it work. They were very aware of Rez pushing into the sunroom. And once they eliminated that threat, we see the value, though, of Rez pushing into sunroom. And even though he dies, he's able to call for rotates immediately. So, you have a player that gets into headshot and a player that gets into heaven quickly enough that they can be useful.
It seems to be a common theme now where Envy put Scream on a P250 in the pistol round, which is very smart. And I've seen it twice now, and both times he's delivered at least one kill. Envy trying to stave off the force buy at the moment. 2 players in the highway position for NIP. These are still dangerous weapons they carry. Forrest getting 2 Deagle kills. Okay, the game on. That forklift play there will be very hard to deal with. Trying to hold an angle while Rez moves in. And you do wonder if Haji can do this now with the Galil. Not going to be easy. Really hard to fight that forklift position as well. Forrest with another Deagle kill. Been in the game so long, but in CSGO I still feel like he slept on.
Yeah, in all of NIP's turmoil, especially over the last year or so, Forrest was definitely, I think, most consistently the best performer individually. He was just very good. Get Right was slumping really hard, but Forrest never seemed to waver too much. And you have to imagine that's for a player like Forrest, who is very much an emotional player, very intuitive in the way that he plays the game. It's got to be hard to deliver performances when your team, the morale on the team is not good. You're not getting the results. Everything is going against you. Mentally, but still. So I think we could still see new peaks to Forrest. I still believe in that.
It's pretty unbelievable to think that you can, considering how long they've played.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And so much of that is really untested as well. We don't really have much in the way of data when it comes to players playing professionally in a game like Counter-Strike for such an extended period of time as FACEIT has been. You know, we see it with some of the Virtus Pro players as well, but I think arguably the NIP players could outlast.
Players like Forrest are holding the torch for all the young players and all of the future generations of players to see how long you can be good and motivated and happy and achieving things in Counter-Strike.
Definitely. Right now, very nice rifling from Rez as he removes some of the pistoling players of Envyus, who were only really interested in this round in getting some damage, getting some picks, and then trying to make a call off of that. And there is one. I don't know that the bomb can make his way there. It's in control of the CTs now, even though Kyo's doing great work. But they have to go back.
Haji charging through the main area, and Draken will pop him with ease. But Kiyashima is doing colossal damage. He still has time to retrieve this bomb, but surely this fight ends here, one way or another. Kiyashima 4 kills now, but that is such a long Molotov. Rez, what does he choose to do? 18 seconds remain, tries to drop the flashbang, playing the off angle, and he will stop Kiyashima from quite an absurd ace in round number 3. But boy, has he kept the economy honest. That's a huge frag from him. That's not an easy one to land that first shot with the Deagle.
Big Deeks. So we've got the P90 out on Get Right, and he knows he's going to be against armorless opponents, so it should be fun. And it's also interesting from the perspective that a player like Forrest, he played for so many years when you couldn't really make money from playing this you know, well, professionally in general, really. Could make something, but you couldn't make life-changing money like we're seeing these days. So that's definitely going to be a motivating point, I think. Given reference to all the lands that they played for $5,000 or whatever.
You know, it's weird, right? Because I think it'd be cool to, you know, like adopt a donkey or something if you're a professional player, right?
Okay.
But the thing is, in America, you can adopt a highway. So I was in a taxi on my way somewhere, and I saw that you could just adopt a highway. So I could just have like James Bardolph in massive letters on the highway.
No, that's
an esports arena or something. But I think if I did that, someone would probably crash their car just out of confusion.
But what adopt the highway?
See, basically, you can pay for the highway maintenance so that the roads are nice for everyone.
How much does that cost? That's.
I'm sure you could.
I'm
sure
know,
they won't say no to any number.
I want my name on the highway.
I don't think that's. Maybe if you catch them while they're pouring the fresh concrete, you can go and draw your name in with a stick or something like that.
No. There's a website. They have these signs. It just has you can just have your name on it. Oh. Next to the highway. Yeah. Look. Just Google adopt a highway. Of course, after the ECS show is finished. But
yeah.
Anyway, enough about donkeys and highways. It's the buy round, and NIP looking to keep hold of the mid position. It's a 1-2-2 set up from them. Dennis trying to avoid the pop flashes through, but Haji will catch him. More than one flash. In the meantime, Rez has been booted up on the boxes, and it seems like a very fast B split from Envy.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the positioning. There's loads of time left in the round, though, so they don't have to commit. But the response from the CTs is very fast. Draken is in a very good timing, and that's going to stretch or strain and constrain Envyus. As Get Right now closes in from the back as well. So ultimately, things have gone very awry for Envyus' attack. And that's surprising. And here goes Get Right from the back. Oh, I thought he'd finished things off. At least he's left them low. His teammate should be able to clean it up. The bomb is in the open as well, so the chances here are very low, very slim. And now it's all over. But they were in checkers at like 130. Draken pushed Vent at like 125. That's such a fast response.
Yeah, really nice. When you see Draken, he immediately jumps up as well, because you'll often find a lurker trying to cut off the rotators in T-Warehouse. So you'll often find players jumping on the roof to take an off angle so they don't get pre-fired, and they'll see the legs first of their opponent. But yeah, when there's a fast play, you don't really see those fast plays in pro matches anymore, like Haji pop flashing through the smoke. But often if somebody's playing close on the CT side, they will essentially run facing the right wall to try and avoid as many flashes as possible. But again, something we've also noticed is Flashes behind flashes, so you hear one, a peek, get hit by the other one, as Dennis did. Rez very aggressive through B. Nobody in T warehouse whatsoever. And look at the stack now. And this is a position where he doesn't necessarily need to flank, and there's probably going to be somebody boosted, and they might even look behind them. But the person in the rear can simply contain to cut off a rotation. Ooh, there's 2, 3, 4 for Rez. And 1 for Dennis.
Great rifling from him.
Nice.
You know, you were mentioning adopting a highway. When we went to Aruba, I mentioned that to my mum. She said that in the 80s, you could do the same thing, but you could adopt land in Aruba. And so they paid for some land which had my name on it. But they lost the paperwork.
So when you say adopt land, do you mean buy land?
Well, no, not buy land, but like you could like sponsor some land or something and then have your name on it. Something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Renting land.
And it's funny thing is my mum only remembered because I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to Aruba. She's like, oh yeah, I've got some, yeah, names there somewhere. That's sticking out of a field. So, oh, okay, great. Do you know where or anything? Any details? No, just paperwork.
Before the internet age.
Indeed.
Daniel Capadia was written somewhere in Aruba.
Oh.
Slow default from Envyus.
Envy no, especially with the smoke back here. And it looks this is the bent molly that they're lining up. There's not going to be anybody to trap this time. This Rez is sitting pretty aggressively on the box. They're actually not even peeking it. They just threw a molly into Sunroom. Oh, Rez gets his angle closed off on.
In the meantime, Draken's been picked off towards the A site and nobody else is there, but they'll be careful. Molly behind forklift, really important. That's a great spray by Dennis. He's maimed some of these players. They won't bleed to death though. They'll need to be finished off. No bomb plant just yet, and that's buying time for the CTs. RPK picked off, I think, as he was about to plant. There's a pop flash play through the smoke. 2 players for the CT side. Get Right's good for both kills. And that leaves Scream alone. Position unknown. Get Right moving around the smoke, just about not showing his person. 15 seconds for Scream to plant the bomb. And he's looking for the kills. He knows they're close. He's going for elimination. There's Get Right. Massive burst from Scream. Has no idea where Forest is. 7 seconds. Forest peaks. Perfect timing for him. Another round for NIP.
So I'm not sure if I think I may have missed something there, but NIP believed it was B for some reason, but all they had really seen was one player in B storage taking down Res. Yet they did a big rotation away from the A site as Draken started to push main, I believe. So it seemed like a mystery. I'm not sure if you guys caught something there that I didn't.
Well, Rez was blind when he went down, so I guess he was limited in what information he could tell them.
Yeah, but Rez is not going to say there's, it's going to be B if he doesn't know. But he will tell them that he was blind and, potentially.
Yeah, so he doesn't know what's there as well.
But they're not going to hard rotate off that information. So I think the thing is, though, this is what we were talking about with Cash before, is that it's really easy to get people to play retake on A, even if that's not their initial setup. So all you really need to do is sell a light fake, and somebody will rotate to truck or even farther out.
Buy round for both teams. 6-1 at the moment. Haji lining up a quad smoke, but that hasn't gone well for him. Sprayed through the door, falling to the flames. 2 of the 4 players towards A for Envy, and Get Right's going on an investigation route. And I love this because we saw when Threat was on the team a more aggressive NIP, but sometimes it was a too aggressive NIP. Sometimes you've got to be aggressive, sometimes you got to keep them guessing. The bomb starts to move towards the B bomb site, but all the things are quiet now. If Happy can get a pick, he can pull players away. So there goes Draken. And that might send people back towards the A site. Let's see. It's going to send a tease back, in fact. Ooh, but Get Right.
Oh no! Oh no! Ooh. You hate to see that.
You don't often see that either.
Yeah, you do. That is. Garrett's one of those players where it's like that's like a 1 in 100 type thing.
Bet that won't be on Reddit.
2,000 upvotes.
7 hours of casting. 7 hours of streaming, sorry. 30-second highlight. 2,500 upvotes.
I guess Get Right is the... Was it 2 years running? He got #1 player in the world. Was it 2 years running? I think it was something like that on HLTV. Guess he gets the benefit of the Dark James. Yeah, I mean that's insane because usually the worst case there is he only gets one, because the second guy then spins around and reacts very quickly and gets a very fast headshot. But he got none there, and I think if he just gets one kill, you know, we're looking at a very different round. So very, I mean, that's what CS comes down to sometimes.
It's hard to say this round didn't come down to that. I mean, he had such an advantageous position, and also it seemed like he was waiting for the second guy to run by as well. If he did, then I mean, maybe he still misses, but I'm surprised that he waited, but then still shot only when he saw one guy running to aim in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if he would wait longer. Either way, they still have guns. They've got guns and money and guns. As we get close to middle, and NIP have been playing even towards the 1 minute mark. They've been keeping 3 people around middle and leaving the sites with just 1 player in a few rounds. So either they expect delayed mid takes from Envyus, which was a very reasonable thing to expect, or they're just mixing things up now, because we see 3 players sort of committed heavily towards A here for NIP so far, and it's off of very little information.
What's interesting about this round is that they had just evacuated mid, so their initial setup out of spawn was, hey, let's play 1-2-2, and Dennis, after getting all that nade damage, decided to fall back, so they've just adapted and given up mid control, which puts everyone else off because they don't want to play with so much of a lack of information. But it seems like the gamble stack now is just play 3 inside A.
Yeah, they've got a nice setup towards B with Forrest holding the pop flashes and the player behind the box, but how will this work out? Not the best Molotov towards the MBK position. Get right, not Molotov off the forklift position either. So now Dennis can run distraction. Get right's picked off in the meantime, but Dennis continues to kill. Slow crab walk, and the spray will be there. But will they expect Draken? Probably think the site is clear. 30 seconds, and there's 1 player down. There's a bomb planter down, and now Scream's got massive problems on the highway position. 1 player creeping behind him. That smoke will soon disappear, and surely he goes down for free. See Forrest right next to him now. Scream's being spotted, or has he? Draken will finish him off as well. Big round for Draken, and the 2 men dying on A. Envy did not expect the 3rd person, didn't check the site, and it cost him.
That was the target selection thing that you were talking about with Skylar the other day. He had to decide whether or not he wanted to take a pick on the guy going to A main when he heard the bomb going down. When he could have just killed the planter and let that guy go away, just in case of the fact that maybe the guy planting the bomb is able to get off and shoot before he peeks him. But he timed it really well here, or he realized that he could definitely kill him.
It's a really big deal as well when you have multiple players on your screen too. It's so difficult to know which one, and there's always a best target to shoot, and it's really interesting. In Quake, that's like a really big deal as well. But this is Counter-Strike, and aggressive Draken. He's been spotted though, and it's still a hittable shot if his opponent is to make his way across, but a very hard shot now that he's aware. Rare's going for the pop flash play through the smoke, aggressive stuff, just taking a very slight peek there. Looking for information. I like how active NIP are in B storage. I think it's pretty awesome. It shows an advanced level of understanding of how to play versus a T default, because especially due to the fact that it can be very powerful if you work out that it's just 1 player harassing B storage, and then you can understand that's part of their default, and then even if you know what player it is, that can tell you even more as to what's going on.
Nice pop flash for the mid players to see what is going on. If anybody has an aggressive position in mid. But I still won't know if anybody's in mid. Could be somebody under the boost, could be somebody by the vent. And they'll keep 2 players there for the time being. So they've changed their approach on the A sites. Changing their formation. Oh, Dennis caught on a journey. Ooh, a boost over the smoke. And Draken goes down for free as well. So Envy've got some tricks in the bag. And that might be around for them. 5 versus 3 as they take the A site. 2 players in B are ready for NIP, and they'll be joined by the 3rd in Get Right.
In terms of changing tempo, it's really powerful to do late mid sometimes, because you know that teams are going to be constantly throwing nades at boost. You take no residual damage, and then when you go up, you know that there's only going to be 1 guy in vent or 1 guy close up. The reason why people want to rush it sometimes is to stop people from getting up close to the smoke, or getting under boost, or doing something really tricky, or getting on top of boost even. So I like that Envy decided to just do like a late dry mid, and it caught Dennis off guard, which is going to mess him up for future rounds when he tries to lurk up mid. if they do try to do that.
Envyus making this a competitive game. Now starting to get some rounds on the boards, though NIP with the 3-man save. Pretty crucial to understand the difference between saving like 3 guns versus 2 guns versus 1 gun. Like, it's obviously, it has a complete different effect. If you save 2 guns, then that's 1 guy that can't be dropped for. If you save 3, then you sort of have a surplus then. So it makes a pretty significant difference. Having 3 is obviously optimal. Very close miss there. But we can see that NIP have a very solid buy despite their money being ruined. This is something that they used to be very, very strong at initially when Threat first took over. They suddenly just were able to get more buys than every other team because of how they were saving and so on. But that also comes at a cost because it means you're taking less risks, less opportunities for you to do damage to their economy and so on and so forth. Oh, Happy was very ready for that push. Draken with the very late creep past the smoke.
Very cheeky indeed. And that risk has not paid off for NIP. They don't have anybody in the B bomb side. They've had to abandon A. Envy are not committing to anything. They are waiting to see the reaction of the CTs. And now Dennis will, with some confidence, move back in towards the B bomb site. Rez maybe expecting a pop flash play, or is he going somewhere on his own? Into the corner. Always good to spray this from the T side through the smoke to stop people. As you can see, Happy's going to check it, and he will have an advantage there on that peak, I think. Yeah, there we go. Nice stuff from him, but doesn't see the low ground. Vision obscured by the scope, and Dennis will hold down the B bomb site. Still plays on A for NIP. Forrest trades his teammate, who gets caught in the shroud position. That leaves Scream dancing around Molotovs with 20 HP. Blinds, going for the plant. He must land the plant at the very least.
Another 1vx for Scream in a less than ideal position with such limited health, and his opponent's wielding AK-47s. One shot to the torso could be it for Mr. Scream. Plays around the smoke, but not quite ready for that push. And that's surprising. That's a pretty easy to expect push. It seemed like Scream was kind of expecting someone to come higher. Unfortunate.
Well, I mean, he's 1 versus 2. They could come up the ladder on Cat. They could come around the other side of the bomb train as well. So, not the easiest position to be in.
I'm just surprised they didn't play the 1v2 together.
No, exactly. So you get 1 guy pushing a smoke. It's such an easy 1v1 for Scream.
But that was a good adjustment after losing Draken to B main. Having the 2 players go up, and one thing I think like a lot of lower level teams don't do is they don't play around their smokes, so they'll, you know, smoke something off, play standard on site. Oh, that's a very testy adjustment.
Tough spot for Dennis. There's more than 1 person, and he may fear somebody moving up the roof position as well as the low ground. And all of a sudden it's down to Get Right 1 versus 2. I think he's heard 1 player in the just moving into the checker's position. But in 1 versus 2, how likely are they to be checking this? They don't know he's coming from this position, but surely he's been heard now. Scream at the front of the site. Oh, he's seen him now. We've got a fight on our hands. Scream willing to duel, but Get Right's bursting is too much. 9-3 for NIP.
The crazy thing there is that if Get Right's 2 teammates had survived for like maybe 2 seconds more, it's a super easy round for Get Right, as opposed to a very, very sketchy 1v2. But you like, it's very surprising to see. Oh, Get Right! Like he knows, he saw him shaking his mouth. That he knows that he probably shouldn't have won that.
He played it well though.
He did.
Yeah, and Scream kind of ran to bomb with the pit. Ran to pit with the bomb when he probably should have been the one to cross site with his teammate to just go up and sit there. I think they heard Get Right drop out of vents too, but they just didn't really react properly.
Yeah, I think he was already in the corner, and it's an awkward position to escape from. Oh well, awkward stuff for Envy, and it puts them back onto pistols. No grenades at this point. Gauntlet run. Interesting angle from Get Right. Obviously his teammate spotting for him, but they are very close indeed, so by the time he sees him, that Molotov will surely be too late, or no. 1 person having a look, but nobody else committing. Get Right holding on to his molly for now. Is anybody else here? Yes, there's 1 more person. Bomb not spotted yet though. But they're just going to peek one by one. In a pistol with... I don't know, man.
I like the setup from NIP at least, because obviously Get Right understands that. Like, they intrinsically understand, okay, Forest takes the first contact, the next, after he gets the kill, the next player's looking towards Forest. Forest is not peeking. Then the Get Right knows that he has an angle that he can take, and because of where they have to peek to get Forest, it's like a very easy, safe off angle for him. So I guess that's a good takeaway there, if nothing else. Obviously, the one by one P250 peaks weren't all too fantastic.
Highway control is everything. Like you can use it to defend mid really easily. You can use it to nade any spot on A. Highway's wide open, and you can use it to hold door. So even on a retake setup with highway control, you can stop players crossing, do tons of damage in pre-nades, and have a lot of information for your teammates to rotate as well. And that was a really nice anti-eco setup. The only weakness, obviously, was the one player B.
Do you feel like Envyus are getting frustrated?
3 rounds. I think they will feel like Catch is, or can be, a good map for them. So 3 rounds, I think, is not what they expected. I mean, when aren't Envy frustrated at the moment is another question, Dan.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're able to do stuff now. They've got the AKs. They have some grenades. Now, NIP are trying to condition them. Here we go. This is one solution as well. It's just sometimes you've got to hide in the smoke in mid. But it's not often that happens, and you can get away with it on occasion. But not when RPK's man in mid. Hard to get away with anything versus RPK. So what can they do with this now? They've picked off a play. They've got the man advantage. They've got loads of time on the clock. They've got lurkers towards A. And here comes the move up highway.
Straight in your face. Nicely done by NIP. Envy's trying to crowbar their way into the A-bomb side. Not really working out here. Wow, Forest emerging again. Happy was somewhat ready for that, but still loses the battle. At least Kirishima can get the trade. And it's a 2v3 here with plenty of time. This is the only issue really is that NIP have been very active, and it's very hard to know who's pushing where. That's fantastic though. Scream in a very important timing, creating what could be an open bomb site for them, as we can see also at the same time there's pushing from Rez in the back. So Envyus do not have too much time to mess around, because Rez will eventually catch up with them.
30 seconds on the clock. Trying to slowly, quietly figure out where these CTs are. And now there's time to plant. But Rez's position unknown. Default plant from Kirishima. Where is Rez coming from? Is he coming from mid? Is he coming from car? Is he coming from main? It will be the last of the 3. 11-3 for NIP.
That was a really cool round from NIP, because when they lost their opening kill, this was 4v5, RPK gets up highway, and they never leave him alone. They molly top highway, they kept flashing it over and over again. They knew that you can kind of puppet master Envy there by killing RPK or making him uncomfortable, because they're only going to go up when he takes contact up highway. So if they kill him, they completely nullify the push, and if they annoy him, they're not going to go out A main just yet. So they did a really good job understanding like what was the most important guy to worry about versus that split.
And Forrest did really well with his mid shenanigans, that's for sure. Happy standing on the shoulder of his mates. Or on the shoulders of giants.
Wayne Gretzky.
No, actually it's Isaac Newton quote, but whatever.
Bloody hell.
That's good.
Kill me.
Wayne Gretzky misses 100% of shots he doesn't take. Michael Scott.
Okay, we've got the 4v5 again from NIP's perspective. Envyus have a lot of time. Again, they're finding some of these openings pretty early into the rounds. Very ideal for a T side. Question is, what is the reaction from NIP? So far, they're just holding positions towards B at the moment.
This is always a scary position if you're RPK. You want to harass the site, but you don't know if anybody is behind the box. And when you're a lurker, you're on your own. You don't really want to... Oh my god, that shot from Rez. That was nasty. There's a pop flash from Forest. He's buying some time for his team. The Molotov on the site stops him from rotating, and now he's dead as well. 2 versus 4. Perhaps we'll finally see a 4th round for Team Envy. We've got players on the site. No need for more to cross. The bomb will be planted for the vent position. And now they've played a post plant.
Incendiary in. Jack trying to bait out some players here to cross his reticle. Not an easy task, and in the end, it'll be 11-4 for the NIP side, conceding a round at the end of the second quadrant. I guess this will still be a thing.
Holy moly.
It was a great half for NIP. I mean, that round was really well played by Envyus. They got the 5v4 advantage. They immediately said in their heads, I imagine, all right, we've done what we need to do. We don't necessarily need to get map control. We can just go for a site. If we do it in a good way, we'll be fine. And they just went for just a quick little B split.
Forest 20 for 6. Nice.
Very nice, very nice.
One player has disconnected, so there'll be a slight delay before we get back into things. PC restarts. So, as you can see, Peter, for those of you who didn't remember, is part of the NIP team, taking the place of Threat. And he's declared that NIP will win the next major. And then Yanko said, please qualify for the major first. Let that be the focus. We do like to see them return to the major. Not the same without them Swedish, Forest's Swedish beard.
It's really weird without NIP at majors. Very weird indeed.
There was this period of time where there were no Swedes in the top 10 besides FaZe's coach.
Vape Lord Robban, as Guardians AWP says.
And Olaf Meister. Olaf Meister.
We'll see if that continues. When did you last restart your PC then?
Well, my PC's in London.
You like to leave your PC on?
It depends. Sometimes
you're a PC leaver honor.
I used to, but not anymore. Actually, I usually shut it off now.
Yeah. What about you, Launders? Do you leave your PCs on all the time?
Before matches, I always restart. But if I'm just playing games, sometimes I'll just leave it on for. I'll put it in rest for a few days because it actually takes more power out of your CPU to turn it off and turn it on. So it can be on the long term. You should be using rest mode more often than just restarting your PC.
Like sleep mode?
Or sleep mode, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never used sleep mode on my PC. Petrol XXXX. Wait, is that 4 X's or 3? The screen's a bit far away.
4.
It's 3. No, it's 4. It is 4. All the X's. 4X. There's one 50,000 FACEIT points. I think I have about 6,000 FACEIT points.
I don't know how many. I used to have quite a bit, I think.
I'm going to win some this time. I've been playing loads of hubs and stuff. I want to get me some FACEIT points.
I can check.
I want to save up. I want to buy me.
The
I don't even know. Huh?
A Fiat.
FACEIT.
Maybe. I'd prefer a boat. I wanted to buy a boat in London, but the thing is, with like insurance and mooring costs are like £5,000 a year.
You ever been on a Sea-Doo or a jet ski or anything like that?
Yeah, I almost like paralyzed myself on a jet ski in Cancun.
Oh my god!
Because it was there was this one day. It was really windy when we were there, and this one day it was pretty wavy, and they probably shouldn't have opened them up at all, and they closed it when I came back, and because I just took off from the beach and I went like 10 feet plus in the air. And I know to when you land, like you do it like a like a mountain bike, because I'm a big mountain bike guy. But I still just like all the bones in my spine just kind of squeezed together. It was really uncomfortable. It was really bad.
That sounds amazing.
I was very sad for a number of days afterwards. I was sad. I was like, this should not happen. I'm sad. So yeah, but apart from that, the jet skis were awesome. I tried to. I drove my jet ski into Yanko's jet ski.
That sounds very dangerous.
He had someone on the back as well. I did it deliberately. I tried to just go past, but and go close, but I ended up just driving straight into him. But no, the jet skis were cool. Have you been on a jet ski?
I've been on a Sea-Doo. I don't know if they're very different.
What is a Sea-Doo?
It's like a jet ski. It's like almost the same thing. I'm not exactly. Maybe it's just a brand. I'm not sure. But I've gone very fast on a Sea-Doo.
Probably just a brand. Jet skis, it's insane how powerful they are. I was not expecting that.
Feels great. I love going fast.
Yeah, but we were on the wrong side of Cancun. We were on the side that was exposed to the sea, whereas if we were on the other side of the islands, it would just be, then you could just go nuts and it would just be calm. because it's protected by the island of, like, you know, the Cancun, whatever. Anyway, it is the second half pistol now, and NIP are on the T side. Everybody has Kevlar on every team. Lots of heads for Scream to shoot, but excuse me, he'll be the recipient of the headshots this time. Happy trying to do what he can, but it's a very difficult flank for Happy. If he commits through this vent, surely he goes down. Very unfavorable for CT, but maybe in a pistol round he'll make it work. RPK on his 6 as well, and now they've got the man advantage. Dennis trying to hold across while his teammate plants the bomb.
So they've managed to make it work. The bomb down is always going to be nice. Rez and Dennis doing excellent amounts of damage onto the oncoming Envyus players, and they are all gone. They've been wiped off the face of the server just for that very round, and NIP have started things off very, very well. Envyus must surely be unamused. Highly unamused. The pistol chaos.
This is one of my favorite pistol strats.
Yep.
Just because, like, you can't get, I think it's easy to get kills in B, and once you get into checker especially, it's really, really difficult and kind of random, I think, for the USPs to hit their shots. So I find it's very easy to swarm on that site. You also know they aren't going to play retake on it, so they don't have some like long con plan that's going to allow you to get the bomb down but then still win. Much harder site to retake.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The Popo.
Popo who?
Dan, you better run.
It's not the Popo who, it's just the Popo. It's not like extra.
But for that's how...
It's not the Po-Po-Po. I mean, what do you want? What do you want from me, Dan? Bomb being planted on the A site. Happy's been picked off, leaving RPK and Kiyashima. That's all that remains, and now it is the RPK, the king. The king himself. Got his Titan logo. I don't even know what deagle that is. It's so dark and just... Is it bronze deco?
Oh, that might be it. I thought it was a koi for a second.
No, Koi's brighter.
Brighter.
I have the Koi, but the Honey Badger's the best one for me. The Hypnotic. It's a Honey Badger.
I use the, what?
The Hypnotic Deagle is styled like a Honey Badger with black and white stripes.
Black and white stripes,
So mine's called a Honey Badger.
Honey Badgers have black and white stripes?
Yeah.
Oh. You learn something new every day.
What did you think they were? Dare I ask?
Guess I just thought they looked like regular badgers.
Well, they also have black and white stripes. Have you seen? Do you know what a badger is? Yesterday we found out that Lorna didn't know what a circle was. And now we question if he knows what badgers are.
No, it was like what was that fruit? It sounds like Harambe, or not fruit, candy.
A fruit that sounds like Harambe.
What's the name of the thing that sounded like Harambe?
What are you smoking?
What's happening?
Remember? Oh, Haribo.
Haribo.
Haribo sounds like Harambe.
Well, yeah, that's.
Oh
it does sound like Harambe.
They
that's
start
just
with H. That's about it.
And A.
Oh my god, this is so good.
If you're at home, please draw a circle and send a picture of it to Launders. Then send him badger pictures in a separate tweet. Thank you. 14-4 for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Scream's been taken down in the middle of mid. Aggression from RPK, and this has led to catastrophe for Envy. 3 versus 5 on the defense. Get right, getting greedy for a gun perhaps. Now he's stuck with 2 HP.
He's doing the thriller dance over there.
They smoked him off.
In the garage. Happy. It's just chilling. This is a really rough position because you want to take some initiative here, but it's very difficult when you're down to 3 players like this. You can see Kiyashima is that man. But it does look like NIP are moving with a good pace. They should be in on top of the A site before this flank should do damage if they continue to move and do not wait anymore. Kiyashima is almost there. But the site push has commenced and they have taken it and they can plant the bombs. So Kiyashima is slightly too slow. And now that Happy's gone, the power of his position is halved. Or even worse than that, as he can't do anything without distraction, so we'll back away. Really awful position. One of those spots where you can see them wanting to immediately take the advantage back by going for a quick push when it was down to a 5v4, and then you're in a 5v3. It's really tough. CT side is way less forgiving than the T side in that same situation.
it's kind of how the round should go when you get the first kill at mid and you get mid control, and then you sometimes still see teams come back from it, but that's how it should look. And it's kind of like how you would work the body in boxing. You know, you soften them up that way, and then you go for the head. You don't just try to knock someone out right away. And that's the same thing with mid control. You won't necessarily win the fight here or win the rounds, but it's totally pivotal to controlling what the CTs can do.
Yeah, I guess like with boxing, you start to tire your opponent, and then they realize they have a clock, and they have to go for it, take more risks. And that's when you have them right where you want them.
Oh, Draken!
Got the hit too.
Yeah, but he gets put out of his misery by RPK rather than fall to the flames. I think both, well, one of them was almost guaranteed. All but's guaranteed. Haji boosting over the smoke. Rez will finally finish off screen. But when you expect the player in main, if he goes for a push here, he could be in for a nasty surprise. That said, with Haji high, he has to jump off, but he'll manage to finish off the job. Clearing the squeaky area at the same time, taking the AK, and he might go for a push later on. Or perhaps not. Politely closing the door. One shot just in case. And in the meantime, the rest of NIP have been waiting. One player still lurking outside B. Oh my god, Forest is awake today. His KD is getting quite ridiculous. 24 for 7. 3 on 3, 45 seconds for NIP.
That means he's fragging all times a day.
I like the boxing analogy quite a lot. I haven't heard that before. Nice.
Thought of it just now.
Nice. I'm a fan of analogies. Well, NIP looking to crush the A site, and he had you there. Does have an AK though, but he will die. Get right on point as well, and now move into the bomb sites. And the CTs are very far away, so this becomes very difficult. Obviously, NIP don't know quite exactly how far away they are, but they've taken some pretty solid post-plant positions, and they have all the information in the world now. Despite losing Get right there, it's still so difficult for Envyus to get in here. As a Molotov and Dennis as well. So that can be quite useful in this situation. Ooh, Kishima trying to get some good pre-fire through the smoke. There's Molotov a bit too far forward, but it doesn't matter. That'll be 16-4. NIP with a very decisive result. Great performances from pretty much everybody on the team, and just very good basics. I feel like they just look like a more advanced cash team right now.
Yeah, this is some of the more high-level stuff that we're talking about. You know, NIP are world beaters on this map as well. And although the performances have been off and on, this has definitely been one of their better ones, I think, just in general. NB, I felt like in the first half didn't play that badly, even though they only got 4 rounds. Yeah. It's just that NIP were giving them a very, very hard time.
Yeah, and NIP had really good timing on many of their flanks, their aggressions, their pushes. It wasn't so often you see them get caught out like we did see Draken get caught out outside the B bomb site. So when it goes well, it goes really well for NIP, and that's quite telling by Forest. 26 for 7 at the end of that. But it's still a good, reasonable average across the team, good damage as well. So another tough loss for Envy, and while they may have played well in that first half, still it's another L, and they've got no W so far. So we are going to move on to, I'll just double check that, Inferno is going to be the next map again. Look at us in our boxer apparel. We're like little jobbers.
Charlie's Angels.
I feel like
I've got the velour.
It's a wrestling show, right? And you're a heel, and you're like sending the guys in, and we just get wrecked by the guy, you know, and it's like, oh, I want you, you know, and then you're like just backing off and being a coward. Anyway, more Counter-Strike coming up for you after the break. We will be back here in just a few minutes for match number 2 in Europe, and then it's North America. See you soon.